Alrighty, hello everybody, and welcome back to the McDonCast, the funnest podcast in town. Tucker, you gotta hit play.
Oh, you're right. I forgot. It's very late.
The funnest podcast in town, the only podcast around. Didn't know you paused it again. Oh, but why does that remote have a pause play button on it?
There it goes.
Weird. All right, but yes, we are back. We are here, and we have the worst news I think we've ever had to cover on the McDonCast.
It's been a couple weeks. We didn't record an episode last week.
Yes, we were busy with stuff.
The episode before that, we didn't cover any news.
So it's been a while. There was a lot of news. We don't have all the news.
We're going to talk about a couple of major stories. One you've probably heard about regarding a certain Nintendo video game adaptation.
Yes. Well, let's give everybody a brief rundown here. We got so many things to review. Just a lot of stuff.
Picked a really good time to record as well.
Yes, it's also
PM.
Almost 11.
And I have a 5-hour car ride tomorrow morning, and I have to wake up at 5, so...
Very cool.
I'm not going to sleep today.
Very cool, very cool. We got trailers. We got more scheduling delays. We got some strike stuff and some Joe Biden stuff to talk about. We got Zelda movie, and we got Marvel Studios is in shambles. I'm so tired of hearing people say that. Stop saying that. You're not wrong, but stop. Say a different sentence, please.
Sam, let's start off. Let's talk about some trailers. So
what
there was
trailers
3 major trailers this week. The first one was for The Kingdom.
Did you put any of the links?
I did not put any links
Why?
in.
Why didn't you do that?
I forget every time.
Why did you get mad at me being like, why didn't you watch any of my trailers and then not put any trailers?
Because you have access to YouTube, Sam. You can
but you just wrote the word trailers. You didn't even say what they were.
They're in my notes.
I'm not going to read all your notes.
Gotta read my notes.
Okay, there we go. Now we got the trailer going.
Anyway, so this is
When
so this is obviously the fourth, I guess technically the fourth film in the reboots. They did Rise, and then Dawn, and then War,
and now Kingdom of the Planet.
And now Kingdom.
Of the Apes.
However, this one takes place like hundreds of years after those.
You know what conceptually is really, 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 really lame?
What's that, Sam?
Monkeys fighting humans.
For context, Sam has not seen a single Planet of the Apes film.
I've seen the original one where they
from the Charlton Heston one.
Yeah, where they have her stack the cubes and then she goes, "I don't like bananas." Remember that part?
Was it like the old one or like
the one where they capture her and put her in the thing and she stacks some blocks and then she goes like, "Humph." And then they go, "Huh, why'd you stack all the blocks if you're not going to eat the banana?" And she goes, "I don't like bananas."
Was that one of the more recent ones?
No, it was one of the old ones.
Okay, so for context, they did 3 Apes movies recently. Matt Reeves did, of course, from The Batman, did Dawn and War, which were the last 2. Andy Serkis was involved in all 3. He played the main monkey.
Caesar, I think.
Caesar, yeah. And so he's departed the franchise. Andy Serkis is out. Matt Reeves is, of course, working on more Batman.
Is this
stuff.
a Mario movie prequel?
So this is hundreds of years after. I'm just gonna skip over that because what am I supposed to do with that?
Think about it.
No.
You know, in the Mario movie, there's the Kong Kingdom. Think about it. They can all talk.
Donkey Kong can't talk.
Yeah, he does in the movie. Remember, he's Seth Rogen.
In the movie.
That's what I'm saying. It's a Mario movie prequel.
Is the monk? Well, but no. In the Mario movie, they live in New York. In the Planet of the Apes is a post-apocalyptic.
So then this
world.
takes place in the universe that Mario
Unless
goes
the Mushroom Kingdom, they're not actually traveling to a different universe. They're traveling to the future.
Yeah,
the distant future.
Or maybe he just goes to the universe where the Planet of the Apes happened, and that's the
Planet of the Apes.
The Mushroom Kingdom universe.
Like it's 2
no,
alternate
but I mean,
dimensions.
Yeah. Like the pipe took him to the alternate universe.
Anyway, this is nothing. But yeah, this one follows. This one's 200 years later. Follows a new character. Who I can look up the name of because I don't think they say it. Let me just read the log line.
His name is Caligula.
Director Wes Ball, who will be discussing again later.
Oh, goody.
Breathes new life into the global epic franchise set several generations in the future following Caesar's reign. in which apes are the dominant species living harmoniously and humans have been reduced to living in the shadows. As a new tyrannical ape leader builds his empire, one young ape undertakes a harrowing journey that will cause him to question all that he has known about the past and to make choices that will define a future for apes and humans alike. They're doing ape wars, ape uprising, the ape revolution.
Yay. I sure want to watch the monkeys fight.
My main question with this, and I'm sure they're planning to do several of these, probably a whole new trilogy, is are they eventually just going to work their way into remaking the original movies from like the 50s? Because the more recent ones have all been prequels.
Yeah.
And they don't like directly contradict those original ones. So my question is, are they just going to like work their way back around? Because this is essentially where the
around the
time,
take place. Yeah.
Because of course the humans go into space and they come back, and
then the whole planet is ruled by apes, and they're like, whoa,
what's going on?
And the Statue of Liberty is like
in the
fell
sand,
down.
and
yeah.
Everyone knows that shot.
Everyone knows that because
movie,
it's on the poster.
Seen that shot. Anyway, as far as I'm aware, there are no bad Planet of the Apes movies. Maybe the Tim Burton one.
There's a Tim Burton one?
Yeah, he remade Planet of the Apes in the early 2000s. You don't remember this? There was a whole... I know you're a big nostalgia critic fanboy. He made a whole review.
I don't... When did he make that review?
Many years ago.
And I probably saw it and have since forgotten about it.
Yeah, no,
That might have been the one that I'm talking about.
Maybe it was. Maybe it was the Tim Burton one.
Was it with... Did the Tim Burton one have like live action human and ape costumes?
Oh,
then
I believe they were all
then. And that's a different one.
But anyway, yeah, this looks pretty solid though. Comes out Memorial Day.
I just cannot bring myself to care at all about Planet of the Apes as a franchise.
What if I show you the first three and you become a big fan?
I'll be like, wow, yep, they sure are fighting the monkeys, aren't they?
Well, the monkeys are the good guys.
Wow, the monkeys sure are fighting humans, aren't they?
Yeah, the humans are actually. That's the big twist.
Wow, no way. You don't say. You mean like the plot twist in every movie where humans are fighting another group of guys?
Anyway, this looks fine. It looks fun enough. I'm sure it'll be a fine sequel to the... I don't know how much audience interest there is in apes.
That's what I'm saying. Like in the when were the original ones made? Like the 70s?
Okay, well the Rise and Dawn both did really well. War kind of underperformed, but it also came out in like the middle of like a super overcrowded summer.
I remember it came out and it was stacked.
It came out in the summer of 2017 when like every movie was coming out. Like I think it came out like a week after Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So like what do you really expect it to do? But I don't know. Audience interest is changing. It's been 6 years since the last one, which doesn't seem that long, but COVID's happened since then, so it feels like 15 years ago.
Yeah, I personally just cannot bring myself to be interested in Monkey Wars.
Well, now you'll have to watch it because of the director. You'll have to be familiar with his work.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Anyway,
all right, what's the next trailer?
There was another trailer for a movie called The Fall Guy, starring Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt.
Ryan Gosling,
directed
and
by
Emily
David
Blunt.
Leitch, who did Bullet Train. If you remember Bullet Train from a year ago.
Bullet Train was okay.
Yeah. This is loosely based on the classic, I believe, 70s TV show. It's about a stuntman who has to track down. So he's a stuntman for an actor, and the actor goes missing. And he has to track down the actor, and then it leads him into a world of crime.
They made a whole TV show about that?
Yeah.
How far does that premise go? Like,
well, I
maybe
believe at
2
a certain
episodes?
point he just started basically just solving crimes full time.
Yeah, like what? Does he not figure it out relatively soon? Like, how long are people going to care about that for?
The trailer looks fine. It looks pretty generic action comedy thing.
Yeah, this looks very much like we will forget it exists.
But it's got a great
soon.
cast. Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt, Aaron Taylor Johnson.
And Ryan Gosling is also very big booming right now.
Hannah Waddingham from Ted Lasso.
Oh, she's in Ted Lasso.
Stephanie Sue from Everything Everywhere All at Once.
So the cast is all like
It's got a good
recently
cast,
popular people.
And Ryan Gosling picks good projects, so I'm sure it'll be good.
It looks alright.
Or it'll
It looks
at least
fun.
be okay. David Leitch is an uncertain director. Everything from John Wick 1 to Deadpool 2
It
to
looks
Hobbs and
like
Shaw.
it's more of a rom-com. I'm not really getting the actors missing and he's got to save him.
Well, you're also not listening
here
to
we
the
go.
audio.
Now we're here.
Yeah,
No,
here
we
we
got
go.
there in the trailer.
This
Why did
trailer's
they?
really
Why did
long.
they?
It's like
yeah,
3.5 minutes.
they waited like a whole minute and a half into the trailer to to get to that part.
I think they were trying to like really emphasize the stunt guy thing because without that angle, it's a fairly generic premise.
Well,
Man goes
okay,
looking for guy.
okay. The fact that
finds
he's
crime.
a stuntman it doesn't even like that is like the least connected you can be to another human being. Like I am this guy's stunt double.
I think,
Like that's not a strong
I don't think it's
bond.
there for the connection. I think it's there for like he did all the stunts for fake, but can he do them for real?
But he's the stuntman. He was doing them for real. The actor was doing them for
this
fake.
time he's getting shot at with real guns.
Yeah. I mean, he was setting himself on fire and like jumping off buildings and stuff. So again, the premise of can the guy who was doing all the stunts for real still also do them for real again? Like if it was the actor looking for the stuntman and now the actor has to do all the stunts for real,
That's a better premise.
that's a better premise. Because now that's
Maybe
funny.
they should have made that movie.
But this movie is the guy who was doing the things is now still also doing the things for real. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
This comes out in March. Then finally there was a trailer for Echo.
Woohoo!
By far the most highly anticipated.
Oh, you know what? I do
series.
think I saw the whole Echo trailer. I think I went back later.
It's so this is we'll get to it well, whatever. This is going to be 5 episodes. They're going to drop all at once in January. It's going to release on both Disney Plus and Hulu. Going to be Marvel's first TVMA rated show. Of course, focusing on Echo, who was a character in
I like
the
how
Hawkeye TV show.
cartoonishly mean this ice cream. How can you be a mean ice cream vendor? Like an ice cream vendor who hates and refuses to engage with children. Your target demographic.
Maybe he likes all children who aren't Native American and also deaf and crippled.
Is she crippled in this, or
Mhm.
does she get crippled later? I thought she got
She has a
crippled.
prosthetic. Well, I don't.
I thought she was
No,
crippled
the
because she was in a
actress-
building that
the
exploded.
actress has a prosthetic leg. In the
Yeah.
comic, she doesn't, and they just had the character.
No, I know she has a prosthetic leg in the when she's an adult, but I thought
Yeah.
when she was a little girl, she was like had 2 legs and then got blown up or something. That's what I might be getting
Maybe
her.
I don't think they
No,
ever say.
I'm getting her confused with the other mob boss's daughter who was a villain in the Black Widow movie when she was blown up and turned into
Oh
Taskmaster.
yeah, where they stuck a computer in her brain
Yeah,
and she could do karate
and
better.
then she learned how to be a really sucky, lame
I
version
remember
of
that
Taskmaster.
movie. Remember when the villain was Martin Scorsese in a helicraft carrier?
Yep. Oh, she's giving birth in the woods. Does that
So
give her powers?
they've changed her powers. So in the comics, Echo's thing is just she does Taskmaster thing.
Yeah,
just
she
copies
has
everyone's
literally
moves.
Taskmaster's exact
In
abilities.
this one, they're giving her like Vixen-esque abilities to like summon the powers of her Native American ancestors.
I'd like that more. That's more interesting. I'm sorry. That's in
It sounds more visually interesting, but my fear is that she's gonna like summon their power and just be able to like
Okay.
all of a sudden summon the ability to have wire.
why was Taskmaster so lame in the Black Widow movie?
Because he had like no personality. and
Well,
was
because
just, like,
she
a
was
robot.
fighting Black Widow, who just does karate, and 80% of her karate is doing that one
leg
one
scissor-
leg scissor kickflip
like
move.
scissor tackle grab.
So when that's your only move, you're only going to copy that move. So it was inherently uninteresting to watch. You run into that same problem here where she's only fighting like mob goons. So what's she going to do? Copy the fact that they also shoot normally? Like,
Isn't Taskmaster still alive?
yes, but it's unclear if she still has her powers.
Well, because they deprogrammed her.
Yeah, they
They took the computer
unmind
chip out of
controlled
her brain.
Well, no, I don't think they took it out. I think they just turned it off.
But
It had like an off switch.
wasn't the computer was giving her the ability to copy everyone's moves though.
Yes, but we
But
don't.
she was also like watching surveillance footage of Avengers fighting. So was that giving her her powers? Or
She
was
was
it the computer chip?
the computer allows her to perfectly replicate their moves, but she has to see it in order for it to all like process.
They take away
think
her
that's how it
ability
works.
to do that. That's just the lamest character ever.
It's just not a character at that
Yeah,
point.
she's just a lady
But I
with
think-
a skull mask.
I don't know. I think this is more interesting than Echo's original powers.
No, it sounds fine. It looks fairly violent, which is good. A lot of people are saying this could be Marvel's Andor.
No, that was just me. I said
No,
that.
I've seen it on Twitter too.
Who else said that? I saw no one else say that.
Because it's a show with zero expectations, a character no one cares about, and then it comes out and ooh, it looks gritty and serious and
Yeah,
standalone.
it does look good. It looks cool. I mean, the trailer doesn't look bad.
It has undergone a lot of reshoots.
So did Andor.
That's true. I don't know.
It could be good.
It could be anything can be good.
See, okay, I don't want it to be good for the just the reason I don't want to have to tell other people to watch it.
See, regardless of its quality, is going to be the least watched Marvel show.
Because no one cares about
Echo. Yeah,
she's not even like a. She's not even a character that people don't know. She's a character that people who know all the characters don't know.
She's a nothing character.
She's not. She's a non-character.
There is one shot of Daredevil in this show, which I feel like will be half the marketing campaign. Is ooh, look, 3 seconds of Daredevil.
Yeah, because that worked so well for She-Hulk.
Might as well try it again. I don't know.
Yeah,
Kingpin's in this.
Kingpin's cool. He's always
he looks like a lead in this.
Yeah, he seems to have a lot of he's like her uncle or something, right?
He's like her dad. I can't remember from Hawkeye, a show I watched.
Her dad worked.
Her dad worked for him, and then he kind of like took her under his wing, and then he had her dad killed by Ronan, who was Hawkeye.
No, I think Ronan just killed him. I don't think.
Remember, because that's why she goes after Kingpin at the end, and she shoots him in the face.
I thought she just shot him in the face because she was saving.
No,
Kate
she
Bishop.
shot him in the face because he had her dad killed, and that's in.
Oh, and then he blamed it on Ronan. I don't think Ronan actually killed him.
No, Ronan was there. He did the murder. Kingpin had Ronan do the murder. I don't remember.
Ronan's only thing is that he... Okay,
I'm trying to remember a TV show I saw 2 years ago.
Ronan's only thing is that he hunts down members of organized crime like units. He wouldn't work with Fisk. I think Fisk just blamed it on him, and it made sense because he hunts down.
Oh, no,
guys.
It was something like... I could just Google it, but I'm not going to. It was something like Kingpin gave Ronan an anonymous tip to go take down their certain shipment or whatever. Wait, and her dad was there.
Was it that, or was it the Swordmaster guy who was also in the show? Because he killed someone.
No, he's a nothing character. He doesn't do anything.
Okay, I don't remember. Who cares? It's the freaking Hawkeye show. She's mad at Wilson Fisk. It doesn't matter why.
She's gonna go get him. Although she's not gonna get him because he has to be in the Daredevil TV.
Yeah, so this show will be a nothing show. Even if it's good,
she's never gonna show up in anything again.
No,
what are they gonna do? What do you do with the Echo character?
She's has no powers. Oh, I guess she does have powers that they just never explored until now. Well, unclear.
I think she's going to get them in this show to be able to summon powers.
Why now, though?
She'll probably go into.
She's a mutant.
She'll probably do some sort of mind palace trauma dump thing.
All right, what's next? I don't. We're
all right. Cool, Sam. Some movies got delayed. Snow White. Now we have an excuse to put Rachel Zegler's face in the thumbnail.
Rachel Zegler Snow White movie.
And big explosions in the background and woke all over the title.
Yeah, we can say the Disney's woke media ending. There no more
money.
No more woke Disneys.
Anyway, Snow White was delayed a whole year to March 21st of 2025. They released an image which has Snow White and the dwarves.
And the 7 goblin men.
And the dwarves are in it still.
The 7 full height goblin people.
They're dwarves again, but now they're obviously CGI.
Well, they're not dwarves because they're like the height of an average person.
Here's what I think happened. I think they shot the movie without the dwarves.
Yes.
And then they went back, realized people were mad about them. They were mad about other people being mad about there being dwarves, and are now taking a full year to re-CGI the entire movie.
So they're Sonic the Hedgehogging
the dwarves over the people.
They're Sonic the Hedgehogging it.
That is the only explanation for this. Other than they are so scared of the controversy around it that they're like wanting to wait a whole year.
Maybe just don't release it. Maybe just write it off for taxes. Maybe do that.
Well,
I guarantee you that would be more profitable. I can almost guarantee you that.
There's no way it can, because they've definitely spent like $250 million on this.
Yeah, but it's gonna lose money, like a million %.
It's going to lose money, but it's less likely to lose money than it just never being released.
Oh no.
Also, they can't, because they've committed to because if they don't release it, then the angry action figure wall guys win.
Yeah.
And that's what they want.
But
actually, that's not true. They want this to be released.
Yeah,
because then they can make 85 videos on it.
They made this movie just for those guys. This movie's for them.
Yeah,
that the target audience is people who will be mad at this movie, and Disney knows that. That's why
yell and give it free marketing.
That is exactly why Disney casted how they casted for this movie. It was just to specifically target action figure wall guys. That's it. That's what it's for.
And you know this because no one cared about it when they announced it. Only like very
they only
recently,
started caring recently.
Was
when
there
that
like
clip
a
went viral.
targeted campaign to yell about it?
Yeah. Yeah, that was so weird too. Like, okay,
it was so weird that they were all overreacting to like interview clips from a year before. Like they were freaking about interview clips from like a year ago.
Yeah.
So like they obviously didn't care then, and then all of a
sudden they randomly started
I'm
caring.
outraged.
Okay, my biggest question is why didn't they just make her hair white? That is a brain dead child could have come up with that as a replacement for. If you didn't want to do white skin, white hair is so easy. I think what it's going to be is that
she's Snow White because her heart is pure.
Was her heart white?
No, but it's pure.
Okay, but that's
pure like white.
That's a different. But white doesn't inherently mean purity.
Thematically, it means purity in most works of art.
That's a weird message to have. That's in my opinion worse. Like significantly worse.
Yeah, they should have just given her white hair.
And okay, oh my gosh, okay, the dwarves. So Peter Dinklage was mad at at Disney in the 1930s or 20s doing the dwarves.
Shout out to Peter Dinklage that he definitely got this company to delay this major release like 2 years and also spend $50 million. Like he did that single-handedly, that man.
And he didn't like the way the dwarves were represented, which, that's fine. Understandable. So Disney was like, okay, we'll make them like vaguely kind of hobo-looking guys. And then people were like, no, I want dwarves. And so Disney's like, okay, compromise. We hire no dwarves. The dwarf actors get no work.
I think
and we make them giant, creepy goblin men.
They're little people.
The little people get no work.
I think they hired
in the movie. They're called dwarves in the movie.
That's true. Well, probably not now.
But I think
they probably won't call them dwarves.
Well, they're like fantasy dwarves and humans with dwarfism are two different things.
That's true.
So I'm talking about the dwarves.
Stupid people on the internet don't know that.
Yeah. So the little people get no work, and instead we have
weird, nightmarish,
giant goblin people
who will be voiced by like C-tier celebrities.
Very cool.
Oh my gosh.
Disney.
Miley Cyrus is one of the dwarves. It'll be stuff like that.
That's so cool.
So weird looking.
Why did they... Okay, you know what?
They're so obviously cartoons.
They're
so
opposite
creepy.
Sonic the Hedgehogging it. They're taking a normal looking thing and making it look weird.
Yes.
Where in Sonic, they took a creepy, weird looking thing and made it look normal.
This is good. This is good. This is progress.
This is cool. This will not backfire at all.
Now, I do think it was smart to delay it because I think people will run out of things to yell about by the time it comes out.
No, they won't. They'll just have more time to yell about stuff. Also, now both sides will be mad because Gal Gadot's also in it. People are not fans for reasons I am not even going to touch. That. People are mad at Gal Gadot right now. Now that will probably die off before the movie comes out, but the Rachel Zegler thing definitely will not. That will they'll just keep
yell
barking
about it
until it's over.
There was a YouTuber. I don't remember his name because there's a million of his type.
Of the quartering. One of
the quartering type people who made like 130 something videos about Rachel Zegler Snow White in like a month.
Imagine being that insane. Imagine that level of insanity.
No, you know what? It's not crazy to me, the people who make them. Because it's such an obvious grift of like...
Oh, it's so easy.
It prints money for them.
Yeah, no, it's so easy.
It's the people who watch it and like take it seriously that amaze me.
Why would you watch every single one of them? 127 videos about the same thing,
and nothing nothing.
You know he's just going to say the same stuff every time because there's been This is another thing that has made me mad about this whole movie.
There's been no news on it.
There's been no news, and so people just make up news and then assume it's true. They're like, guys, Disney is taking a year to replace Rachel Zegler, and then I've seen like probably 5 or 6 TikToks.
She's been fired at least 9 times.
Yeah, she's according to TikTok, she's been fired like 1,000,000 times. And every time I just comment, none of this is true. There are no sources for this. This is made up. And that's always the #1 comment because it always gets like the most likes because people are like, oh, it's fake. It's not real.
No, I've heard people in like real life fall for it.
Yeah, no, I've heard people say that too. I think Patrick did.
I'm like, Why do you? I don't understand it. It's amazing to me. It's literally just people sitting in a room making up random crap
about
from a spot of zero authority or legitimacy, and just total dullards believing them.
It's the
crazy.
same energy to me as the like, guys, Dave Filoni is gonna reboot the Star Wars universe. It's like, no.
Source, that's my grandma. It's
source, like, I hope it happens.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's not a source.
It's crazy. Okay, again, I understand the people who make them because it prints money.
Yeah, it's easy money.
It's such an easy grift. If we wanted free money, we would just become those guys.
I don't even fault the people who believe the story, because when it's repeated ad nauseum, you probably just assume that, like, oh, well, I mean, that can't be not real. This guy keeps saying it over and over again. But it's the people who do watch, like, every video of that. Like, do you not get bored after, like, the first 3?
Because they're just saying the same thing over and over again. This is too woke. Disney's too woke. This is gonna bomb.
All right.
Snow White should be white. It's just that. It's just that.
And like
12 minutes at a time, 8 times a day.
And there's not, it's not even entirely wrong. Like, if you are like someone who is, what is Snow White, like, German culturally from? I think it's from Germany.
It's a what fairy? It's a Grimm fairy.
Grimm. I think they're German, right? I could understand the character called Snow White because her skin is white. I could understand you being like, "What? Why'd you change that?" That's understandable. What's not understandable is the 127th video of it. Like, okay, you've said your piece. Disney's not going to change it, no matter how many videos you make or how many videos you watch. So what's the point? I don't know.
Anyway, other news.
Yeah, I think that's it for Snow White.
Elio.
Oh wait, there's the other Snow White that's
not a real thing.
I love that.
That is made up.
I can't wait for that movie.
I can't wait.
I hope it releases. I
can't wait for it to be the worst thing ever, and all of those people on the internet decrying
that it's way better
will have to sit there and claim that they think this movie's good.
I
can't.
What if it's not even bad? Okay,
there's literally a 0% chance it's good.
If they literally just copy the story word for word, sure, the acting would probably be bad. Because I'm sorry, what's her name?
Brett Cooper.
Girl Ben Shapiro. I have no idea if she's a good actor or not. I've never seen her act.
I think she did like a Disney Channel work.
Maybe she's like a fine actress. I don't know. Maybe she's terrible. But like, if they just take the story of Snow White and just repeat it point for point, it's not going to be bad. It'll be like a B movie.
Their
it's not going to be terrible.
Their budget is ungodly
That's
low.
They're going to have like a $10 million budget max.
It's going to be like insane. Like the teaser they released was just like drone shots of the woods.
It's just
the entire movie is going to take place in a forest.
It's just Brett Cooper being like,
because like
that was it.
This whole thing started with the dwarf thing, but they can't do the dwarves. Like they don't have the money to do the dwarves.
Unless they hire actual little people.
But they're not going to.
they might. They might do it just to spite Disney. See, that's the thing, is every decision that they're going to make during the creative process of this movie will be to spite Disney. Yeah.
It's just crazy.
I, for one, cannot wait. Anyways, what else do we have?
So, Elio got pushed back to June 13th, 2020.
What is Elio?
2024.
That's the Pixar Alien.
Yeah, so movie. That one,
that's the Pixar adaptation of Mars Needs Moms. Remember that movie?
Yeah, it was supposed to come out next year. Now it's going to come out in 2025. It slid back 2 spots to correspond with Snow White. So I guess that one needs another year in the oven. I don't know.
Well, I don't think it needs another year. I think they're just trying to fill out the time gap between them.
How to Train Your Dragon, the live action remake, that's been delayed 2 months to June 13th, 2025. Obviously, they probably were supposed to start shooting.
That was even coming out.
This is not a delay. This is a new thing. The Black Phone 2, released June 27th, 2025. Do you remember the Black Phone?
Remember people saying that it existed.
It's pretty good.
I remember people watched it and then forgot about it immediately.
I saw it. It's pretty good. I have no idea what you would do with a sequel to that.
There's a different phone.
There's like nothing else to do with that premise.
In the movie, is there a black phone?
There is a black phone in the movie.
So, do you ever know who it's calling? Is that in the movie?
The phone is not connected to anything. It's through listening to the phone, you can hear like the voices of all the other dead children he's killed.
So it's like a haunted phone.
Yeah, and so the dead children like give him tips on how to escape the basement.
So, okay, what if this time we see on the other side the
Mhm.
phone that the ghost kids have, and it turns out that it's also Five Nights at Freddy's, and Freddy
Where is this going?
Freddy has the phone, and those are the kids that he murdered.
That doesn't make any sense.
The black phone
No,
guy
but I believe
is William Afton.
Sure. I believe they kill the killer at the end of the movie.
What if they do a Saw where there's just another?
It's just
one?
another one.
And the
who's
phone
doing
is
the
phone is
same
red
thing.
this time.
God, that's gonna be such a boring.
It's gonna be called the Red Phone 1.
I know Scott Derrickson's coming back to do it, so I don't know.
Yeah, they'll just do a copycat killer then. That's the easiest thing to do.
They Follow. They announced that. That's the sequel to It Follows. Remember that?
Don't.
It was an indie horror film from about a decade ago. It's
I
very
heard that
good.
that was supposed to be good. Yeah.
This is a sequel. The writer director's coming back, and so is the star. So I'm interested to see what that is.
Cool.
The Salem's. Okay, this one's interesting. So Salem's Lot, which is a Stephen King book. That was the second book he ever wrote.
Yes.
That was supposed to be a movie for Warner Brothers.
Mhm.
Gary Dauberman was going to do it. He made the entire thing. The whole thing is shot and finished.
Good. Good.
And it's been sitting on a shelf for 2 years at Warner
Interesting.
Brothers for no reason, discernibly.
Well, I know the reason. They're very easy.
It's
to say
probably
the
terrible.
reason. It's Warner Brothers, and they are an administrative nightmare at the moment.
They probably
And that
don't even
movie-
know it exists.
Yeah, that movie is probably on a shelf, dusty somewhere,
But
and no one knows it's even
Apparently,
there.
there's been internal conversations about releasing that direct to HBO Max.
Yeah, do it.
Which would contradict David Zaslav saying that they're no longer going to do direct to HBO Max
Hey,
films.
well, David Zaslav is not a reliable source. Yes, he is literally the CEO, but pretty much everything he says is almost always immediately contradicted by their actions. So it doesn't really matter what he
But
says.
I'm interested to see that. Salem's Lot is my favorite King story. It's bad that movie's probably going to be terrible.
Well, I don't think I know any of the Stephen King stories.
Name 2.
No, there's The Tower.
Yup, The
and
Tower. Yep.
It.
Mm-hmm.
Or The Dark Tower. Is it The Dark Tower?
That one's a series.
Yeah, but that's one of the stories.
That one, I believe that one's Amazon.
It was a movie,
They did a movie.
but it wasn't
It
called
came
The
out-
Black Tower.
No, it was called. Yeah, it was called The Dark.
No, it was like The Gunman or something.
No, it was called. The book is called The Guns. First one.
Ah,
But
So
the
they
movie is.
switched.
But the movie they did make a movie. It's terrible and it didn't make any money.
he's got the bullets. And
But
they
now
go-
Mike Flanagan's gonna do it, so now it'll probably be good.
All right, what's next?
SAG After Strike is still going on.
Ooh, yes, we got a lot of updates on that.
So the Actors Union received a best and final offer in quotes.
this is their, for context,
I believe
fourth
yeah,
best and final offer.
from the AMPTP this past Friday. The SAG negotiating committee spent the weekend mulling it over. This Monday, they said that the deal wasn't good enough. There was a major discussion over a clause in the contract that allowed studios to pay a one-time fee to an actor, scan them, and from that point on use their likeness without further need
In
for consent or
perpetuity
compensation.
post-mortem as well.
Yeah. The union is trying to negotiate a term of minimums for scans of actors as well as necessary payments and consent from performers if a scan is reused. No time further negotiations has been scheduled. Pretty much everyone in the industry believes we're at like the tail end of this, though. It'll end any day now.
I love
That's,
how the AMPTP thinks that they get to like decide when the final offer is. Because like they can say it's their final offer, but if they reject the offer,
Well,
what are they gonna
they can
do?
give the offer and then just sit there and wait for them to have to.
You mean
take
like
it.
what they've been doing already for months? Oh no, they'll keep doing the same thing. How? Oh no, we weren't prepared for this situation that
Yeah,
we
no,
literally started.
The 2023 TV season is essentially gone.
Yeah, no, it's cooked.
It's pretty
over.
much cooked. They're obviously their scripts ready, but even if they strike a deal tomorrow, they're not gonna be able to start shooting anything proper until January.
No, yeah.
So, because the holidays mess up everything, everyone gets like a month off. In other AI news, Joe Biden reportedly became more aware of the concerns of AI after he
How-
viewed Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1, according to White House Deputy Chief Bruce Reed, who viewed the
you know
film
what?
with the president.
I'm tired of people saying art, has no practical application in society. You know how people are, oh, you get an art degree, that's useless. You're
'Cause it
providing
is.
nothing. Without whatever degrees that Tom Cruise has. Joe Biden would not.
Scientology medals. I know
Joe
he has
Biden would
those.
not be passing groundbreaking AI
Did
legislation.
he do that?
Yeah,
He did.
he made it so that they have to share like what they're using and how they're training their models with like the government.
Oh, that's cool.
That is cool because now we'll have that
I wanna
information
know
publicly available.
Did Tom Cruise go to college?
He had to go to some kind of art school. But see, we had this movie got Joe Biden aware of
He went
AI,
to seminary.
and 21 Jump Street cured Kanye's racism temporarily.
So he did. He went to seminary to become a priest and dropped
Learned
out.
about Scientology.
So he could
and
become a
dropped out, I guess.
Scientologist. Yes.
Interesting.
And worship our Lord and Savior Xenu, the
That's
alien
real.
from space.
They're gonna sue us.
Well, no, they won't sue us. They'll just send someone from.
They'll just send the
They'll just send
Pinkertons
someone
to
to come
murder
break
us.
our kneecaps and
Yeah.
kill our pets.
Who's the? Is it
Which they have definitely never done before.
No, they would never do that.
Nope, they haven't threatened anyone's livelihoods or killed anyone's family members.
Is it the Pinkertons that did that for like companies? I think.
the Pinkertons?
Yeah, they would they were the guys that like companies would call to go like break workers' kneecaps if they weren't like falling in line. Actually, Wizards of the Coast?
Yes.
They sent a YouTuber a pack of cards early for like Magic the Gathering, and then he opened them on YouTube because he didn't know he wasn't supposed to because he's a YouTuber, and they sent him cards.
And that's what people.
And they
usually
sent
do.
the Pinkertons to like threaten him into taking the video down.
That's cool.
That happened, I think, over the summer. That was insane.
Anyways, Sam, let's get to one of our two major news stories. Nintendo
Oh,
and Sony have
Nintendo.
officially partnered to develop a live-action The Legend of Zelda film.
which should be good news, but for some reason we're not excited. Tucker, would you want to share
Yeah.
why?
So Nintendo announced earlier today via press release that following the major
Not even a
success-
press release, a tweet.
It was a tweet, but there was a link to a press release, and
This is Miyamoto. I love that.
I love that.
Like a broadcast.
They do that all the time too.
This is Miyamoto. Like
it's like authority. It's like, yep, it's me, Miyamoto, back online. All right, here's some news.
And it's like like that verifies who
Yeah.
wrote it. Like anyone couldn't type "This is Miyamoto" on
I'm
Twitter.
gonna start doing that to all my tweets.
This is
I'm gonna
Miyamoto.
put "This is Miyamoto" at the beginning.
What if he like gets mad and sues you and takes
He
away your?
gets mad.
What if he takes
doesn't-
away your Mario games?
Do you think he even knows what Twitter is?
He clearly, he said "This is Miyamoto" on Twitter or X now.
So Nintendo announced via press release that following the massive success of the Super Mario Bros. Movie, they are officially developing a live action feature adaptation of The Legend of Zelda. Sony is going to distribute the picture, which will be a collaboration between the studio Nintendo and Avi Arad Productions. Avi Arad and Shigeru Miyamoto will be the film's official producers. Wes Ball, who directed the 3 Maze Runner films,
Those are movies.
and the upcoming Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Also, I've heard that's a movie.
He's going to direct from a script by Derek Connolly, who wrote Detective Pikachu
Not too bad.
and Jurassic World.
That's not too good.
So,
I mean, okay, the first
the
Jurassic
Dream
World,
Team,
the first Jurassic World, or like the
the
other
first one.
First one's not bad. I mean, it's stupid.
But the first one has a terrible, terrible script.
Yeah, but it's like if I was the writer for Jurassic World, you think I'm putting my A material into that script, or you think I'm going?
Okay.
I don't know. Verizon made a dinosaur and it attacks the dinosaur island. That's.
But if you're not gonna put your best effort into like the $1 billion media property that's like your first big job, are you gonna put your best effort into the Zelda movie?
You better.
After Nintendo has shown obvious complete lack of concern for the script quality of the Mario film.
Okay, the Mario movie wasn't bad. It just was a Mario movie. Okay, think about their approach to storytelling in Mario games. They literally said they're not allowed to use characters. That's insane. Like, given what I imagine, the circumstances surrounding what they were allowed to do, I'm sure that was like close to the best that they were allowed to make.
This guy's track record, oh my gosh. He wrote Safety Not Guaranteed, which was an indie film with Colin Trevorrow.
Heard of
And
that.
he co-wrote Jurassic World with 4 other writers.
Maybe he wrote the good parts.
Then he wrote the screenplay for Monster Trucks.
Okay, again, He knew no one was gonna see
Then he
that.
co-wrote the screenplay for Kong Skull Island.
That movie's not that.
Which
that
you
movie's
think,
not
oh,
too
that's
bad.
pretty good. And then you see that Dan Gilroy co-wrote that movie. And you're like, yeah, he probably contributed all the good stuff to that one.
Maybe Dave Gilroy was missing left and right and needed his help.
Then he co-wrote the screenplay for Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom.
Oh, that's the worst one.
That's the one where they make a dinosaur to sell to
that's one.
people in an evil
that
castle
one's
basement.
really bad. That's the
There's a clone
That's
girl.
the one with the Joker dinosaur.
Yeah, that's the Joker dinosaur one. And then he co-wrote Pokemon Detective Pikachu again with 3 other screenwriters.
Has he ever done anything by himself ever?
He wrote Monster Trucks by himself, but that was based on a story outlined by 3 different people.
Okay, and I don't even count Monster Trucks.
And he did the story for Jurassic World Dominion, and he did the Duel of the Fates script for episode 9.
Okay, wait, that was like not bad though.
Not terrible. But it also was not a real movie.
Yeah, but it's conceptually cool.
Do you want Zelda to be conceptually cool?
Zelda's already conceptually cool. Okay. I'm gonna give this
Sam's
guy...
huffing a lot of copium right now.
I'm huffing every ounce of copium I can get.
This isn't the Avi Aaron thing.
I'm huffing every ounce of copium, okay? Let's imagine the script is similar to the Duel of the Fates script, right? All those, imagine that concept art, but that kind of stuff, like that art style, but for Zelda, okay? That could be cool. Okay, that could be something. And
Well, it's live action.
I know. So is Star Wars.
Oh, I don't know. I honestly checked out for a minute. I don't know what you're talking about.
And okay, all right, okay. So that's like, that could be okay. That might not be great, but it would at least be okay, all right? Now, what's the producer's name?
Avi Aaron.
Okay, let's say we lobotomize him, all right? And we only keep the half of his brain that produced Spider-Verse. Because he did produce Spider-Verse.
Technically, yes.
Yeah, see? Okay. So we do that, and then maybe we get a good movie.
So, just to be clear, you're gonna lobotomize him and remove the part of him that produced Daredevil, Hulk, The Punisher, Spider-Man 2, Elektra, Man-Thing.
Okay, wait.
Fantastic Four,
Spider-Man 2.
X-Men 3, Ghost Rider, Spider-Man 3. By the way, Venom in Spider-Man 3 was entirely his idea and his demand. Fantastic Four 2, Bratz, Incredible Hulk, Ghost Rider 2, Amazing Spider-Man 2, Ghost in the Shell, Venom.
Okay, Ghost in the Shell actually is
Venom
not bad.
2, Uncharted, Morbius.
Uncharted's not good.
And Kraven the Hunter.
Okay.
You're gonna lobotomize.
Hang on. What if
85% of them that made all those movies?
Okay, we can take Spider-Man, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans, not the third one though, but those. We'll take those. We'll take those in the Spider-Verse.
So like 66% of that part of his brain.
And we get rid of all the rest. We don't need the rest. We don't need Venom. We don't need the rest of that.
Morbius, Kraven the Hunter.
We don't need Kraven. That's insane that he.
No, if you know anything about the history of Marvel Studios,
he made every bad. He made every single bad superhero movie. This is not good. This is really bad.
He was in charge of Marvel Studios in its infancy, and he was notorious for making decisions entirely based on what would make good toys. Because he was a toy business executive who ended up at Marvel because Ike Perlmutter, who owned Toy Biz, bought Marvel in the 90s when they were bankrupt. It's a whole thing. There's literally a book about it that just came out. You can go read it.
Do you think that Zelda is going to end up wearing skin-tight leather?
No. Okay, but hear me out, Sam.
This guy does that to women.
What is
in all the movies that they're in?
What is another video game movie that Avi Aaron produced and that Sony made? Uncharted.
Oh, yeah, that's not good.
My fear is that we're about to get Tom Holland as Link. That's like locked in now. That's going to happen. We're going to get Tom Holland, Link, Zendaya, Zelda.
Okay, Zendaya, Zelda, though. I'd be okay with that. That's okay. We can keep that.
Then you get the action figure while guys yelling that Zelda's not white anymore.
Who cares? Zelda's not real. Okay, Snow White's name is Snow White. Zelda's name is not Zelda White Skin Princess. That's not a name.
No.
Technically, if anything, she'd be like Japanese, right?
This is going to be terrible. Like, there's no way this is good. You got the Maze Runner guy, the Monster Trucks guy.
Okay, what are the reviews for...
And the Kraven the Hunter guy.
What are the reviews for Maze Runner? How did those do?
I believe
I know they're like
first one
forgettable.
is generally liked, and then the next two are not.
What's the numbers looking like on? Let's run
Like
the
RT
calculation.
score?
Yeah.
First one, 65% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, that's not very.
Second one, 48% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's significantly worse.
Third one, 43% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, that's not much better than. Okay. What other movies has he done? Any other movies?
Nope.
Only done Maze Runner.
He did the Maze Runner, and he's doing Kingdom of the Apes. I see this as an absolute win.
Okay. Let's calculate the odds. Then it will be good. Oh, this is not good. This is bad.
Why have all studios, Sony, they had to go with Sony?
We're never gonna get a good Zelda movie now.
Oh my god.
This sucks.
No, because this is not going to do well.
And then they'll never
Okay,
make another
hold
one
on.
again.
No, it will do well. It's going to do well.
It'll make money, but
It's
it will
going to
suck.
get poorly reviewed.
Yeah.
The good thing is Nintendo doesn't really care as long as it makes money.
Nintendo's the only
Okay,
company that would care.
But this is going to make $1 billion.
No, it doesn't matter. Because Nintendo, out of every video game company, except for Pokemon, is the only video game company that I think genuinely cares a lot about its reputation. Like in terms of people liking it.
Okay. But see, that part of them is conflicting with the part of Sony that cares 0% about its reputation.
Yeah, I know that. That's the problem. But so Sony's going to make a terrible movie. Nintendo is going to go, this is a terrible movie. We're never doing this again. This is bad. And we're Nintendo and we don't understand what makes things bad. So we're just never going to touch it again.
A thought just passed through my brain of like, Nintendo won't let them make like a terrible casting decision for something, right? And then I remembered that Nintendo cast Chris Pratt as Mario. We're getting Tom Holland as Link. Like, that's going to happen.
What if Chris Pratt
There's no way that
Ganondorf?
doesn't happen.
That's going to happen. You got to prepare for that reality.
Every actor in this movie is going to be someone from a Spider-Man.
And Anya Taylor-Joy is going to be Zelda again. She's going to be both princesses.
Here's my actual prediction. Tom Holland is going to play Link. Lock that in. Gamble on it. That's going to happen.
Okay, actually, real talk.
They're going to try to get Zendaya to play Zelda. I don't know if she'll do it.
You would do it.
With a big enough check.
You think they're not going to write a big check for the Zelda movie?
That's true. And then Ganondorf is going to be like Tom Hardy. It's going to be someone like that.
Tom Hardy could be Ganondorf, actually. I wouldn't really have a problem with that. Okay, let's make our dream cast for Zelda movie. Who would you cast as Link?
I don't know, because Link is like not a character.
I think Link has to be an unknown actor. In my opinion. I think Link has to be a new
probably
guy.
should, but it's not going to be.
Again, I'm saying dream cast here. If we're making a dream cast and it's
not
a
Are we sure that
concept,
Avi Arad doesn't know? Or are we sure that Avi Arad knows that the guy with the elf hat on the cover of the game is not Zelda? Guys, it's dog time. It's late night dog time.
You two are
Up late
still
with Steam Dog.
awake. Bonk.
Supposed to be in bed.
I would cast an unknown blonde skinny person as Link, because that's what Link is.
He's gonna talk for the first time. You excited for that?
He'll talk.
He's gonna sound like British Tom Holland.
He'll say words.
What game do you think they're gonna adapt?
I
would say Breath of the Wild.
I think story-wise it'll be
But I don't think Avi Arad knows about any Zelda game post-1992.
Okay, hang on, because Miyamoto is also a producer, and he at least knows what Zelda is. So, I don't think we have to worry about that. I think story-wise it will be most similar to Breath of the Wild, because
that's the most
Tears of the Kingdom also was just Breath of the Wild, so they seem to be stuck in this is the story we tell now type of beat. I think looks-wise, it will look most like Twilight Princess. Because Twilight Princess was the most kind of like, I guess, gritty or like realistic looking of the Zelda games.
I don't think it's going to be. I think it's probably going to be.
I don't think it'll be gritty
and like PG.
It's not going to be cutesy.
I think it'll be
none
PG.
of the Zelda games are really cutesy except like the Toon Link ones, and they're not going to adapt the Toon Link one and make it live action. That would just be stupid. That wouldn't make any sense.
I think it's going to be PG though.
They're going to do PG. I think if they wanted it to be PG, they would have just made it animated and they'd gone back to Illumination.
True. I don't know why they're not doing it.
I think they're going for PG-13.
I feel like an animated movie would have been the safer choice.
Yeah, I that's why I think that they are willing to go a little bit farther. And if we think about the history of this project, this is, in my brain, I'm assuming, some offshoot ripple effect of the original Netflix pitch that happened a long time ago.
Miyamoto says in the press release that they've been working on this with Avi Arad for years.
So we know that this has been in the works for a long time. Given the movies he makes, those are all PG-13 blockbusters.
Bad, mostly bad, but yes.
I'm talking like tonally. They're all PG-13 blockbusters. If we look at the movies that the director made, they're all PG-13 blockbusters.
Young adult.
Yeah, they're all young adult, PG-13, 18 to 21, 16 to 21, whatever. They're all that age demographic.
Mm-hmm.
I think this will be a PG-13 movie. I don't see it being any other way. I mean, look at Five Nights at Freddy's. I mean, that's a game that is also heavily child audience, even probably shouldn't be. That has a massive child audience, and that movie was PG-13 and kind of pushed it for in some parts.
Anyway, this is going to make a lot of money. This is going to make probably $1 billion, regardless of the quality. I think
$1 billion.
Sony and Nintendo.
I don't know if it'll make $1 billion.
Mario made over $1 billion.
Yeah, Mario is 3 times more popular than Zelda.
Yeah, but if it's Zelda, Zelda's gonna appeal to a wider age group.
No, it won't.
Well, okay, no, Zelda's going to appeal.
Not true.
Zelda's going to appeal stronger to like an older demographic than Mario does. It's also gonna have,
given the creative people.
It's also gonna have famous people on the screen.
That's true.
It's gonna have
live action movies inherently have.
I mean, I'm saying Tom Holland as a joke partially, but also like that would be a smart marketing decision to put someone like Tom Holland in the lead.
As goofy as it would be, Tom Holland probably could be a fine Link.
Yeah.
He looks young enough.
He's a guy.
He's a skinny white boy, which is Link's 3 defining traits.
It's like I feel like $1 billion is pretty.
I mean, they just
easy.
dye his hair blonde and he's good to go.
We're entering the era of the video game movie. Like that's where we're going.
Yeah,
next.
that seems to oddly be
and this
the
is going to
be
like the peak. You know why? Okay, I think we're moving in the video game direction because video games are so intrinsically entrenched in internet culture, and like the youngins are like that's where they live, and so like.
And FNAF just made $1 million cadillion.
Yeah, like obviously FNAF is making a lot of money, and FNAF's entire fan base, but the majority of FNAF's fan base has never played a FNAF game.
No, they just watch YouTube.
They just watch YouTube videos about it. So like, I feel like the future of movies is stuff that is based on hyper relevant internet culture.
I don't know if that's necessary.
And I think video games are like the epitome of storytelling in that form.
I think that of all the mediums that have been producing adaptable content recently, and aside from maybe books, video games and books are not nearly as popular. Video games are extremely popular, more popular than movies right now. That's just a fact.
Yeah, no, they make way more money.
Those stories are incredibly well known, often not told very well, because as awesome as video games are, most video games are not great as a storytelling medium, aside from like some RPG. I would say most video game story is not the main focus. It's gameplay or rap or something. There are a lot of other things you're balancing with a video game.
There are a lot of very good games with very.
Yeah, I'm not saying that there's games never have good stories. I'm just
that
saying,
is the future of storytelling.
Yeah,
is gaming.
I think that movies can adapt the story part of games better than games do. Like, FNAF is a perfect example.
Okay.
FNAF has no story until you pick it apart, and then you find the little story bits, stuff like that.
I think...
Or like any shooter game.
I think movie stories and video game stories have very different appeals, like intentionally. Yeah. The appeal of a movie story is to be invested in the characters in the world for 2 hours and then leave. Like, a video game story has to be structured and told in a very different way because... the person playing the game has to be able to experience it like firsthand in a way that it's not for movies. Like you can have a very, very like questionable or like morally gray protagonist in a movie in a way that you can't in a game, because if you do that in a game, the person playing the game is like experiencing the consequences of their actions in a different way. Well, you
could do that in a game. They just get really mad and write a lot of angry videos.
Well, also people don't want to play as a terrible person.
Yeah, that's...
Unless
Unless
Grand
you're,
Theft Auto aside. People
well, okay, well, yeah.
People generally don't want to play through a narrative as like a bad
They don't
person.
want to
They want
feel
to be
like
the
they're
hero.
doing bad things.
You're
Yeah.
more accustomed to watching a movie where a person does bad things because there's like a level of disassociation from it that it doesn't exist in any game.
And that's why I think that the Last of Us show and the season 2 will be well received in the video game.
I
But
think
that's beside the point.
Yeah, I think that's
Anyway, my point is
for another day.
I think there is a very large repository of stories in video games that have a opportunity to be adapted in a much more streamlined way to a much larger audience. And I think that is a very natural
You are
thing to
definitely
occur.
opening it up to I don't know if a larger audience, but definitely a different audience.
Yeah. And I think traditionally video game movies have done very poorly. But in recent
years, that is not.
we've gotten a couple decent to good ones. Like Mario was pretty good.
Mario and performed really well. Five Nights at Freddy's
is doing gangbusters.
it
Even
had
though
a
it's
massive
kind
second
of
weekend
not
drop,
really
but
related
it's
to FNAF at all.
it
But
was so cheap, it's going to make a lot of money.
there was the Gran Turismo movie, which even though it also had nothing to do with the game, was like a fine movie.
The Sonic movies are on the
Sonic
up and
movies
up,
are actually kind of funny and actually pretty good.
and they make a lot of money.
Detective Pikachu wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. It was pretty much on par with what we expected from a Pokemon movie. So, I mean, we've been getting decent adaptations so far.
Last of Us, so was a TV show.
Last of Us was really good.
Trying to think of I know there a lot of are in development right now.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is obviously like, especially, I know this is gonna like this is probably a little premature, but when the Marvels opens and it has that record low opening weekend, I think we are officially going to be in the transition.
Yeah.
Out of the superhero movie fad into the video game movie fad. And that's not a bad thing. Hollywood is fads. Like everything is a trend.
I don't think video game movies have had their Iron Man yet.
Maybe Mario. If
Maybe
it was
Mario.
anything, Mario made like $1.3 billion.
Yeah, but Mario isn't going to last the same way Iron Man did.
No, you can't build off. It's going to be a different way that the franchises are
like
built.
If this
off
is
of
the
each
next
other.
fad, if this is the next like trend, it will be much shorter lived.
But also, I feel like the audience, what the audience wants, is very different from what they wanted 15 years ago.
Unless we
Like
get
there was
the Smash Bros.
There was
movie.
a desire for that cinematic universe in the MCU's prime. I don't think there's not that desire anymore. People, I think, generally want shorter stories, or at least stories that aren't like 25 movies long. And, you know, people watch movies in TikTok clips now. And like the shorter movies get and the less of them there are, the easier they are to digest in TikTok clips.
That's true.
And that's
the studios don't make any money from the TikTok clips, so I don't think that's going.
I'm
to
saying,
be their
but like
focus.
that's like that is the attention span of your average audience member. Like that's where it's headed. We're headed towards, I think, pre-MCU stuff, where it'll be just back to like a movie series will have 3-4 entries and then it'll be done.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
But you know, I mean, everything will come back eventually. The same way 3D comes back every 20 years. Cinematic universes will come back every 20 years.
It's been a minute. What's going on?
Avatar did it,
but they didn't bring it back. It didn't. Well, I guess some movies are doing it now, but it's not like
they'll
big
show
thing
in
right
3D. I think
it's not coming back. What happened?
No one's making anything for 3D. We're just putting movies in 3D.
No, we saw a movie. No, FNAF had like 3D scenes where like stuff just like was in your face.
But no one is like, James Cameron is the only person like making that as like the way it's supposed to be watched. Everyone else is just like making movies and, oh, I guess this part works in 3D.
Yeah. Alrighty, what's next?
Also, it's super expensive, which I think is the main reason it hasn't made a comeback.
Yeah.
Inflation's real bad right now, and paying $25 for a movie ticket is not the ideal situation for most people.
Maybe just don't make it more expensive. It costs the same amount of money to show it.
Well, you gotta. Those glasses aren't cheap, Sam. Those 3D folding.
I think they are actually. I think they actually are extremely cheap, and probably contribute greatly to climate change. Something.
Let's get to our next story, which is over the MCU.
MCU is the same. Oh my gosh, no way.
So there was about a week and a half ago. It was like a week ago. There was a big article in Variety titled. was the big cover story called Crisis at Marvel. Jonathan Majors' backup plans, the Marvels reshoots, reviving the original Avengers, and more issues revealed.
Crisis on
by Tatiana Siegel.
Crisis on Infinite Movie.
You can go read the Variety article for yourself. It's got a lot of interesting gossip and rumors.
It really is Crisis on Infinite Movie because the MCU just keeps going and just doesn't stop.
It'll stop eventually.
One day, but
one day when we're dead.
Oh yeah, we'll probably not be alive when it does. Which is why it's Crisis of Infinite Movie.
I don't want to think about how many Marvel things.
Let's talk about the article.
So
what's
Kevin Feige
saying over there?
Met with his Marvel creative think tank. They have their annual retreat in Palm Springs in September.
Marvel Alliance.
However, this time their meeting was a little bit more of a panic than in previous years.
We are gonna die.
So on top of the writers and actors strike, which has obviously prevented shooting anything, but also prevented any sort of internal development for many months. The most pressing issue that they had to deal with was Jonathan Majors, the actor who is supposed to be the cornerstone of the next phase, but is now in a high-profile trial in New York. Creatives discussed possible backup plans like pivoting to another villain. The article mentioned Doctor Doom, but that's not been confirmed as a thing they actually discussed. But the character has already been introduced in Ant-Man 3 and is said to have a major role in the Loki Season 2 finale. Quote from a top deal maker. This is kind of a shaky source. Yeah, this is from the article.
What is a top deal maker?
I'm reading the thing. Marvel is truly effed with the whole Kang angle. Who says one top deal maker was reportedly seen the final Loki episode, and they haven't had an opportunity to rewrite until very recently. But I don't see a path to how they move forward with him. The Brain Trust is also grappling with the upcoming release of The Marvels, which is projected to have the lowest opening weekend worldwide in the studio's history. That movie's also been plagued by lengthy reshoots. They reportedly did 4 weeks of reshoots earlier this year. Director Nia DaCosta had to leave the production during the editing process to go work on another film in London. The article tried to paint this as like a weird negative thing. However, there have been several other reports that have come out that this is like a fairly common practice.
Yeah, why? And also she doesn't need to be there for all the post.
And also she was assisting with post-production remotely from London. DaCosta was forced to exit early when the release date kept shifting. Once it swapped with Quantumania, and then it was moved back to July, and then to November. In June, Marvel held a test screening to friends and family in Texas. That apparently did not have positive results.
Dang, you know what's bad if the friends and family were like, oh, maybe not.
Marvel executives were said to have been put in a pickle in 2020 when Disney had a corporate order to begin production on vast amounts of content for Disney Plus, with the goal at the time being to either always have a film in theaters or a new episode of a series debuting on Disney Plus at the same time. That is absurd. That they actually thought that was a sustainable thing.
Yeah, that's insane. You're delusional. I'm sorry. That's a delusional.
You're not creating an entire subgenre for Marvel content. There's not that much of an insatiable want for that from the general public. This constant pipeline has had a massively detrimental effect on VFX workers, of course, who are working 10-hour days, 7 days a week, trying to keep up with constantly shifting deadlines. The studio, the article specifically mentions the VFX on Quantumania, because that film was moved up 3 months. They had to crunch 3 extra months of VFX work into that time.
Yeah.
And it released without finished effects. Multiple Disney Plus series have apparently released without finished VFX, and then they have later updated those episodes after they've already come out. It specifically points out She-Hulk as that being the case. Other stuff from the article, specifically referring to She-Hulk, that apparently executives ordered to be recut because the origin scene from the first episode was apparently in the last episode.
Why?
And then they were told them to move it to the front so that the audience would understand what was going on. That show apparently had a budget higher than that of Game of Thrones.
What?
They were spending over $25 million an episode on that show.
How? On what? On what? Game of Thrones has like dragons and whole armies of actors, all with names who have to be paid union rates, all fighting each other at the same time. How on earth do you spend more on She-Hulk than Game of Thrones?
According to So there are signs that the flood of product is leading people to tune out. Joanna Roberts, who wrote the book MCU, which I have bought and have started reading, pretty good.
Book called MCU.
Yeah, it's about the whole history of the whole thing. But she says, I'm not prepared to call it a permanent fail, but based on the numbers that go with Marvel podcasts, Marvel-based articles, friends who do Marvel-based video coverage, all of these numbers are significantly down, which is pretty obvious. I think generally the public enthusiasm is about it.
Comic Drake is going to go through some hard times.
The quality is suffering in 2019 at the peak. If you put Marvel Studios in front of something, people are like, oh, that brand means quality. That association is no longer the case because there have been so many projects that have felt half-baked or undercooked.
No way. You mean
I don't even think it's...
You mean when you make a bunch of bad things in a row,
I don't even think it's
people
just
go,
for that
oh, that's not
reason.
good.
I think it's just that like general audience, like I think it's become too complicated for a lot of people, and not even because it is super complicated.
No.
But just because people have seen the quantity of stuff coming out and believe that it is coming so intricate that they can't understand it anymore.
I don't really think that's... Because like everyone I know still goes to see Marvel stuff. Like, it's not that they feel like they can't get invested. It's that every time one of my friends goes to see a Marvel thing, they're always like, yeah, that sucked. That wasn't good.
I do think it's both. I know generally a lot of people I know aren't keeping up with the news. I know nobody watches the TV shows.
No one watches, but no one ever has.
But
so
I
don't
know
really
a lot of
consider
people
that
didn't.
like
I don't know anyone who saw Ant-Man.
The only people I know who have seen it all hated it.
No one is seeing the Marvels. I can tell you that now. That movie has zero public interest at all. People saw Guardians, but that movie this article specifically points out like that was this year's bright spot.
Yeah, that was.
But the guy who was solely responsible for that project is moving to run DC.
Like even Black Panther, No Way Home, and Guardians are their three last like
big hits.
And Black Panther was like okay. Like it wasn't on the same level as Guardians 3 or Spider-Man and No Way Home. Like it was just decent.
Critically or box office wise.
Yeah,
I think it might have made about the same as Guardians 3. Obviously Spider-Man made way more money than
yeah, but that's because it has Spider-Man's name. But like I think it's just because the quality has decreased significantly, and it's very obvious.
I think just generally, like, even if it hadn't decreased so dramatically, I think people just generally associate like higher quantity with lower quality. Like it can't all be good if there's this much of it.
Everyone who has also seen the shows, anyone who has seen the shows is like, oh, this also isn't.
Yeah, again,
good.
I have literally not met a single person who has seen any of the shows.
I've seen everyone I know that has only seen like one or two.
Yeah, they're like I saw WandaVision.
And if you throw a dartboard at the Marvel shows, odds are you're gonna hit one that's like okay.
I dare you to find someone on the street who has seen Miss Marvel or Secret Invasion or Moon Knight.
Honestly, you know what?
Hawkeye,
I feel like a lot of people saw Secret Invasion. That was awful. Terrible. In my opinion, I think that's the worst MCU
Secret
project
Invasion?
Yeah. I think
Probably.
Secret Invasion is the worst MCU project so far.
It's competing with a lot of other recent stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's competing with a lot of
Black
recent
Widow.
stuff. Yeah, Thor 4, which had insane hype. Multiverse of Madness, which also had insane hype. Those needed to succeed.
And they did not.
Yeah, it's not.
So then this article
good.
goes into detail about the Blade reboots. So
I heard about that.
So Mahershala Ali signed on for the role of the vampire. Things look promising for a 2023 release date, but the project has gone through at least 5 writers, 2 directors, and 1 shutdown 6 weeks before production. One person familiar with the script permutations says the story at one point morphed into a narrative led by women and filled with life lessons. Blade was relegated to a 4th lead, a bizarre idea considering the studio had 2-time Oscar winner Ali on the board.
Yeah, that seems like a really smart plan.
Amid reports that Ali was ready to exit over script issues, Feige went back to the drawing board and hired Michael Green, the writer of Logan. Speculation of the studio is trying to make the film for 2025 with a budget of less than $100 million, which would make sense. They're trying to keep stuff cheap now.
I think that's doable. For Blade, I think that's doable.
But the real report here was that they're now getting so desperate. They're strongly considering and even reaching out to the original Avengers castmates to come back and reprise their roles. So Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans.
Yeah, I heard that, and
Scarlett Johansson.
I could not find any real sources for that. But we also know that they were going to do that.
This is going to happen.
Yeah,
eventually.
That's what.
The question is when.
No, it's Secret Wars. That's when. We know when. We know when, and we know exactly why. This is not a real question. This was never a real question. We knew that they were going to come back. No one can seriously tell me that they did not expect these guys to come back eventually. No one. You know they're going to come back.
No, this is comics, baby.
It's a comic thing.
They always come back.
No one is ever dead except
dies.
Barry Allen, and even he came back. So no one dies.
Yeah, no one dies.
But
it's just that I don't think that's going to work the way they think it's going to work.
It's not going to help.
One, it's only been 4 years since Endgame came out.
It's not going to achieve.
It hasn't been that long. Two, you already did get the original Avengers gang back together for one last nostalgia adventure. That was Endgame. Yeah. You already did that. What do they do?
So dare
other than have them stand in a room together and go, look, everyone, it's the Avengers, but they're all 50 now. What do you do with that idea?
And if that is the plan, then why did they spend so much time setting up all these like young Avengers?
Because I think their plans were massively jacked up by just like everything going on around them. I think their plan was probably Black Panther, Spider-Man, and Captain Marvel are the new trio, right?
Yeah.
Chadwick Boseman obviously passes away. That's a horrible tragedy that ruins a lot of the stuff regardless. Captain Marvel, the movie made a lot of money, but Brie Larson is not positively
resoundingly unlikable to even the fans of Captain Marvel are like, yeah, I liked it, but she was not fun to watch.
And then obviously Spider-Man's still around, but there was obviously that very public legal dispute back from a few years ago,
which could come back at any time.
And they don't technically own the film rights to that character. Sony does whatever they want to with him. So I feel like whatever plans they had were kind of screwed. And now they're just like winging it and adapting on the fly because they have to release so much stuff. They don't have time to think it through. They just have to keep going until they reach a stopping point.
And they have not had that consistent through line that the other Marvel movies had. Now, the story was not necessarily like continuing one after the next, but like it's not even like characters that like are commonly seen together are doing things together.
I think with the original 3 phases of Marvel movies, there was obviously like Iron Man, Captain America, right? And these guys are the guys we're focusing on.
Yeah, and then
like
it built
all of these events are going on around these characters, and then there's peripheral characters. And I think the audience was good at discerning these are the main ones, and these are like Doctor Strange is a peripheral character, right?
Well,
he's a glorified supporting guy.
We had the Avengers thing to tell
and then
you
there
who
was
the main
everyone
guys
else.
were. And then there were a bunch of other side guys that had little fun adventures and would occasionally team up. And
who are the Avengers now?
Yeah, there's
who's on that team? Who's running that team? Is there an Avengers?
They have the exact same problem that the Marvel Comics had.
Yeah.
Who's on the Avengers in Marvel Comics right now?
Probably Iron Man.
There's probably like 2 people alive that could answer that question.
The writers of that comic
The writers of the current Avengers line. And that's it. Those 2 guys. Because it changes all the time. And that is very hard to follow.
And when you don't have that clarification of like, this is the main team, then everyone just seems like a peripheral and nothing seems important.
And
which I think the audience sees right now.
Spider-Man right now is the closest thing they have to a main guy that stuff is going around.
But the thing about Spider-Man is he's almost like, even if he's included in the universe,
he's too big.
He's independent, right?
He's too big to be with everyone, to be the main
I've said
guy.
This for a long time. No matter what happens to the comic book movie subgenre, right? No matter what happens, for the next 100 years, they will still make Spider-Man and Batman movies. And guaranteed they will never stop. Like those will... Spider-Man is the most popular character. One of the most popular... The most popular comic book character, but one of the most popular characters globally in the world.
Spider-Man is
and Batman is a close number 2.
Spider-Man is the modern Hercules. That's the level he's on. He's immortal.
Yeah. And those 2 will always exist. So everything else going around them, regardless if Spider-Man's doing really well, if everything else is failing, then that is all a failure. And if Spider-Man continues to do well, that's because he's Spider-Man. That's not because the brand is strong in any way. So I just think they're running around, they're chasing their tails. The SAG strike has made things even worse. I think what they should do is take a break. I think they need to stop for probably a year.
No, I think they should have taken a break after Endgame, and they didn't.
They did take a break. They had a forced break for 2020 because they couldn't do anything.
No, they didn't, because Spider-Man came out
And
like
then
a
they came,
month
and then
after
2021
Endgame did.
hit, and they literally released the 9 things in 1 year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there was no break. Like, they showed the trailer for Spider-Man at Endgame.
Yeah. What are we doing? Yeah, they're obviously making a conscious effort to, but they need to slow down. They need to rethink this. They need to make an Avengers movie. It doesn't even have to be a Kang Dynasty or a Secret Wars. They just need to establish who the main characters that the general public is supposed to care about.
Who should I be caring about right now? Because it's not Doctor Strange.
Because you can't expect them to care about everyone else.
Because Doctor Strange is too weird. I'm sorry, he's too weird. His powers are not defined enough for the general audience to be able to care about him. That's the number one criticism that I always hear of Doctor Strange. Is people go, "What are his powers?" And then I go,
"He's magic."
Yeah. Who we got Ant-Man. No one gives a crap about Ant-Man.
Ant-Man's gone.
Let's not pretend like anyone cares about Ant-Man.
After that third movie, Ant-Man's never showing up again.
We have Falcon, Captain America, who was
introduced 2 years ago and has never been mentioned since.
Should be in more things. If they want him to replace Captain America, he needs to be everywhere.
That's the other thing, is they keep setting all these pieces, and then 35 things come out before they move them again.
That's what I'm saying. Like with the
it's not even just the quantity, it's the lack of focus.
With the older MCU stuff, they would introduce a character, and even if they didn't do anything important, they would at least show up in a thing and be like, "Hi, I'm still here." Like, remember me? Like when Captain America's shield shows up in Iron Man 2, or when Black Widow shows up in every movie.
Yeah.
Like they had stuff going on that would let you know what's important.
If you think about the post-credit scenes of the old Marvel stuff, right? Captain America Winter Soldier post-credit scene was Wanda and Quicksilver. The next year, the next Avengers movie came out and followed up on that.
Yeah.
The post-credit scene of Thor 2 was the Collector. The next year, Guardians of the Galaxy comes out, follows up on that. Like, there was that immediate, like, they had Thanos one, right?
Yeah.
But even that, they, like, threaded through, like, the first Avengers.
And he showed up in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 years later.
And then they alluded on the Guardians, and then there was another cameo in Age of Ultron, and then they did Infinity War. Like, the problem with the new stuff is they're like, Captain America, Sam Wilson, right? And now there's a 4-year gap before we even mention him again. Like, you need that immediate follow-up so that it feels like an actual, like, narrative thread that you feel like it's connected. Because otherwise you're just throwing Legos across the room and then sticking random parts together, and you're just expecting people to follow along.
You're like, look how cool this thing I built is. Yeah. And it's just a mess. It's just random pieces.
Anyway, but other minor MCU news, David Scartapine is going to be the showrunner for Daredevil Born Again. He worked on Netflix's Punisher show.
Okay, that's fine.
And Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead are going to direct the series. They did the direction on Loki season 2, and they also directed like half the episodes of Moon Knight.
All right, that sounds good.
They do a pretty good job.
That sounds solid.
See, this is what they need. They need the directing team who is like the consistent Marvel TV directing team.
Yeah, the guys who
so
we
you
know
get that
can
consistency.
Do the job done.
Yeah, that's what they need. This is good. They also announced a new thing called the Marvel Spotlight banner. That's going to release projects that are independent of the main MCU continuity and more character focused. The first one is Echo. Echo is going to be part of the MCU Spotlight.
I disagree strongly with separating it, separate thing.
Just makes it more confusing.
It makes it way more confusing, and it's already too confusing. Just say Marvel. What is this? Why? So the parents know to like put Timmy to sleep first.
Yeah,
that's what the
Marvel
rating
After
is for.
Dark.
That's I don't think this is a good idea. I don't think that.
All right. Well, that's it for the Marvel news for this week.
Talk about the review.
You want to talk about Five Nights at Freddy's? A movie I've seen twice.
Let's talk about FNAF.
All right, well, this is, I guess, old news now.
We can kind of speed through the FNAF review. I don't think anyone really expects an
You've all seen it. Anyone who cares has seen it.
It's so bad.
It's not good.
God, it's awful. It's actually
it's super
horrible. It's so bad.
Just for spoilers, because who cares?
Spoilers for a 15-year-old.
It's not
mobile
scary.
Game.
There's one horror sequence in it.
Two.
One at the midpoint, one at the end.
It's the same thing. Exact same scare.
It's really boring. Main character is super just a nothing burger.
Like, man. Okay, you know what?
A third of the movie.
I actually do like the main character. I thought what they were doing with him was interesting. I like the dream thing. I thought that could have been more interesting.
I didn't like how every 5 minutes we had to go watch that same scene again.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It could have been more interesting. They kind of
And
squandered
how
that concept.
stupid that scene was, like, logistically, and how
it
doesn't tie into anything else or
really
make any
dumb.
sense.
But that idea should have been something. That's what, you know what I'm saying?
It could have been something.
It could have been interesting, but they did nothing with it.
A third of the movie is devoted to a really dumb subplot that goes nowhere.
The police officer Vanessa is just a all around. Every time I heard her talk, the movie got dumber. Like every time, like
her character is so erratic and makes no logical or like.
She's not consistent in her decisions at all.
The script treats her with zero consistency, and like internally, like her character has zero consistent logic on why she does anything.
And like, okay, when she first shows up, it's like she's a police officer. She like, this is on her beat. She like checks it out every once in a while. Like, okay, I get it.
But then it's revealed that she's, at the end of the movie, it's revealed that she's Afton's daughter. And she knows about all of the murders that have happened.
I want to talk about her character throughout the movie.
Sure.
The next time we see her, it's when he brings his sister, his little...
Yes.
He has like a 9-year-old sister. And he brings her because he couldn't get a babysitter. So he brings the little girl, and then the police officer's like, oh, let her play with the spooky murder robot kids. I'm not evil, but I want her to play with them for some reason. And then... no joke, like 10 minutes later, she's like, you were insane for bringing this child here. That was a terrible idea. She's going to get hurt.
Yeah, and she's like the one actively telling her to let her stay there.
That was you. You said
to do that. And the dumbest part is that the main character brings that up to her, and she doesn't respond, and they never address it again.
She shuts down and leaves.
They never address it again. It's like it's like the person writing the script was like, oh, hey, we should probably address the fact that we just directly contradicted ourselves 3 minutes ago. And they were like, it's fine. Just move on.
And then after it's revealed that, like, okay, they don't ever reveal anything. Ever.
They treat everything like a reveal, but even though there's like, there's like, nothing to reveal.
She's like, my dad, William Afton, killed those kids. It's like, okay, but I don't know who that is.
Yeah, if you're not a person who's
not
familiar with game theory, you're not going to know who that is.
So, okay, William Afton's a murderer. Got it. And then she's like, and I can't help you fight him. Okay. Like, I can't do it. And I'm like, okay. In my head, I'm like, okay, so maybe like she's a robot. Because in the
that's what I was thinking too. I was like, she's a robot.
In the FNAF story,
she physically can.
There are human characters that are actually robots that were made by William Afton. And I'm like, okay.
Or Henry Avery.
Sure. Why not? She can be a robot. We know the robots exist. Okay. But then later on, they fight William Afton. And she's there. And she's like, no, actually, I can fight him. And that was a lie. And I'm shooting him now.
And then she gets stabbed immediately and goes into a coma.
Yeah, that was really dumb. This whole movie was so dumb.
I love that they treat the William Afton thing like it's a big reveal that it's Matthew Lillard. But there's 4 characters in the movie.
Yeah.
It's 4. The other guy.
There are literally 4.
There's the main guy.
Okay, wait, no, there's 6 because we're the lawyer and.
But everyone else is dead at that point. So there's one character left who it can be. It's. By the way, his plan makes no sense, right? So William Afton, owner of Five Nights at Freddy's, also serial killer, killed a bunch of kids, stuffed their corpses in robots. The robots became possessed by their ghosts and started doing murders.
And the way he did the murders was he would dress as the Golden Bonnie character.
And he would lure them into the back room
and murder them. Except
for when he randomly followed a random family into the woods, waited for the 2 parents to look around for a second for a towel.
With his magic car that makes no noise except for when it's driving away.
And the split second that his parents weren't looking directly at him, grabbed the little kid, put him in his car, drove away, killed him, and that little kid is not related to any of the other murders he did at the restaurant.
Okay.
Why is his brother not one of the robots? Like, also, why him? Why did he follow this random family into the woods?
My guess, according to the FNAF lore, is that was the first murder, which is why it wasn't consistent with the other ones.
So his first murder was just he kidnapped a random child in the woods?
Yeah. And then
after that, he did the whole gimmick.
He hadn't established his MO yet. And we know that it happened at least before most of them, because we see his daughter with the plane, which we know was the kid's plane. So we know that happened like while he was still, before everything got shut down.
So if his daughter was there, right?
Mm-hmm.
When he was running around, and then he left and his daughter was still there, Would he have then not had to come back and get his daughter? Therefore, he would have been able to see what car it was, and they would have been able to figure out that that's
no. His daughter wasn't at the kidnapping.
She not?
She just had the toy plane in like a photograph later on in the.
That doesn't. Who took the photograph?
It was like just in the. It was at FNAF. It was at the place. It was just like a birthday picture. It was just a picture of her and her dad. It's not that crazy. Do it.
But
that's my guess. My guess is that kid.
Okay.
My guess is that kid became the puppet, which we know is like one of the
maybe he'll be the
more infamous characters in that universe, and he didn't show it. Mysteriously, that character, who is arguably the most important character in the lore, didn't show up in this movie. My guess is they're waiting to do that in the second one.
Okay, but like that's a major part of the plot, and it's just
it should have been. It's very stupid that they chose not to include that.
And then in the present day, he's pretending to be a career counselor under a fake name, yet he also still owns the Five Nights at Freddy's restaurant,
but pretends not to.
And what he does is he hires security guards to work at the restaurant. And then the robots kill them, and then he hires a new security guard for fun.
Remember Blender Freddy? Remember the Freddy that's just a blender?
Yes.
And then it serves no purpose, and it's just a blender Freddy.
It's big and scary.
It goes and then it's a blender Freddy.
Oh no, it's Freddy!
Oh no, it's Freddy! Oh no, it's blender Freddy! Oh no!
No, this movie is it's so long.
It's nonsense. It's
and
constant
boring.
Nonsense.
It's not. There's nothing scary about it at all. Every time the robots are on screen and they're supposed to be doing something intimidating, it's laughable. And then
they're never intimidating.
Some people are like, "Oh, it was so funny," and I'm like, "But it's not like trying to be funny. You're like supposed to take it seriously."
There are some
there's
good
no
jokes.
Funny parts in it.
The lawyer guy's funny.
Sure, but he's in 2 scenes.
He's only in 2 scenes, but he's great.
And then he disappears from the movie.
But he should have been the main character.
Should have been the main character. I would watch a spinoff of him.
And okay, the subplot with the aunt also makes zero sense.
Nowhere.
So the older brother, the main character, the security guard.
Mm-hmm.
He at the beginning of the movie, he like violently assaults this guy.
For
Straight up almost murders a dude because he's like unstable, I guess.
Off his meds.
And so this aunt takes advantage of that situation, rightfully so, and is like, hey, he's got this little girl living with him. I want custody. And I only want the custody for the government check.
Yeah.
That's the reason they gave in the movie. But she has a lawyer following her around.
And she's like
at all times.
And she's paying criminals to like ransack the restaurant.
And she's paying these criminals off to do.
She is investing way more in this than she would ever get from a government check.
Do you know how
much
this kid money the government gives you for like that kind of like welfare support stuff?
Like nothing.
Like probably like $1,000 maybe per month or something like that max. Like there's no way that it's worth more than having a lawyer on retainer 24/7.
Yeah. And like paying random junkies to like
and like paying drug addicts to murder
to bash up restaurants when he's not even working there.
Yeah,
so why would he get in trouble for that?
Her plan is to send in these criminals during the day when he is not on shift.
Yes.
To bash up the restaurant. And by the way, why isn't there a security guard during the day?
William Afton only thinks it's fun if they get murdered at night.
That's silly and stupid.
Why would he even want, like, he's not even there when they get murdered. Why would he enjoy that?
The reason that they give for wanting a security guard isn't even a bad reason. It's like they don't want the place getting broken into at night. Yeah. They want to keep the property.
Teens.
Yeah, to be like not gross. Like, okay, sure. Then why not also have a day security guard?
Why are you paying to keep this restaurant open and not just have it be a functional business?
Yeah, well, it's because they got shut down by the FDA.
But not shut down all the way. It's still there.
Well, they couldn't operate the business, but they can keep the property.
Then bulldoze and start again.
Yeah, maybe their business license was revoked or something. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
I'm sure the excuse that the filmmakers will give is that William Afton's a crazy person, so he doesn't have to have a reason to do anything. But I like to think that's just lazy writing, because it is.
Okay, I give it a 2 out of 10. Let's
yeah,
talk about
not recommend.
We got a lot of other stuff to talk about. Loki season 2 is wrapped up.
No, it's not.
No, there's one more. But oh my gosh, this show has been so good so far. It's been freaking nuts. Remember episode 4 when the time goes
I do remember that.
Remember when Loki goes, "I am now Loki, god of stories," from that one comic book where that's my name.
Sure.
Remember when he says that?
No, but I'm sure it happened.
Did you not watch
I did.
the new one?
Yeah, I remember.
It's good.
I like this last one. I like the looking at all the characters, like their
Real
regular lives. Yeah, that was
was a cool reveal.
I like the Mobius
And
sells jet skis.
it adds a lot more to Mobius.
Gives him
he's
some
like,
depth.
He had kids and he didn't even know.
With the office guy is one of the people who escaped Alcatraz.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool because the background, they never found those guys. They assumed that they died.
They definitely died.
They pretty much definitely died.
They 100% died.
But they never found the bodies, and they did find the boat. So there's a little bit of like, ooh, what happened? But I think I like how Loki has done that with like different people who went like missing and making them like TVA
That's what I
characters.
originally wanted more out of the show, was like time adventure stuff, and there is some of that. There's obviously a lot more multiverse stuff, which I'm not as interested in.
This one doesn't really have multiverse stuff in it so far. Like not really. Like
there's
pretty much
less
stay
of
on
the
main
variants.
timeline.
They stopped with the variant thing mostly.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is just a quality written show. It's just well directed, and it's got a great cast, and it just works.
One thing I was confused about is like why does past Kang have like a stutter? He doesn't have a stutter in the future.
Well, it's a different version of Kang.
No, it's this. He says it's the same one because they're on the prime timeline.
Victor Timely?
Yeah.
He's a different guy.
Okay, well, he
not on
said
the
it's the
prime
same
timeline.
guy. Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
When they get there, it says prime
Victor
timeline.
Timely,
Go back.
He's a different variant. He's a different variant.
Okay, you're saying that, but it's just patently not true in the
It
show.
is
It might be
true,
true in the
it is
comics, but
true.
in the show, it's
he's
not.
He's a different guy.
He says it's not.
There's a million different Kangs. Do you not
Kang
remember that
says
part?
it's him. He said it's him. He said that is me.
because they're all him.
But he's from the prime timeline.
That's not. Do you think Victor Timely becomes Kang the Conqueror?
That's what he says
That's
in the
not
show.
no, it's not.
Yes, it is. Okay, what timeline is the prime? Why would the one? What is he called? The one who remains or whatever.
Yeah.
Why would he preserve that prime timeline if that's not the one he's from? That doesn't make any sense.
He was preserving that timeline because like he just wanted there to be one.
Yeah, but it has to be the one he's from, or he wouldn't exist. Do you not understand how that works?
I don't. Maybe it's the same. I guess. You're saying it could be He Who Remains.
Yeah, it has to be him. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, he's dead. I mean, they're both dead.
He's dead now, but he's dead in the future now.
But he's dead in the past, present.
The past version of him is Victor Timely. That's what I'm saying.
Victor Timely's dead now too.
Yeah,
He
so
turned into spaghetti.
who dies when is not
I don't know.
my point.
I'm just.
But my
waiting
point
for
is
him to
Victor
explain
Timely
it.
is supposed to be
I
the
don't
one
know,
who
I
becomes
guess-
that guy.
I guess he is.
And why does he have a stutter if he didn't have one in the future? I don't know. I just thought that was kind of funny. It's not really like
I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be a different version, but whatever. I don't care that much. Yeah, it's just a fun show. The guy who said make Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston time cops should get a raise.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
Even if they just stopped with like the Marvel universe interconnectivity stuff, I would watch 8 seasons of just Loki and Mobius doing
Loki.
time cop stuff. Yeah.
You know what that would eventually turn into, though, right?
Quantum Leap.
No, it would turn into Legends of Tomorrow as well.
I wouldn't want them to be like fighting space gorillas and flying around a spaceship. I would just be like, some guy got murdered in the 40s and we gotta go use our magic skills to solve crimes. That's all I want to see.
That'd be cool. That'd be nice.
Anyway,
also,
Gen V wrapped up, but I didn't finish Gen V. I guess we'll talk about it later.
My take on the Gen V finale is it just sucked. I liked Gen V as a show. I thought Gen V was really good. I really liked it. And then in the finale, after all this build-up and all the things that the characters have been doing the whole time, one character specifically just decides pretty much out of nowhere to just be like evil for no reason. And then she goes and like murders a bunch of people for no reason. And then the other characters in the show like try to stop her. And then Homelander shows up and the show just stops. All the characters get arrested and put in hospital jail. And that's it. No resolution to anything. It just stops.
Like the Seinfeld finale. They all go to jail.
Yeah, it just ends.
No,
okay, cool.
I'm sure they'll resolve it all in season 2 of Gen V or season 4 of The Boys.
Can we get like season 1s of shows that at least come to a stopping point? Like I don't care if you keep making more, if you plan to make more, if you set it up to make more. But can we just get to like a stopping point? Like a place where the story naturally makes sense to pause.
And then you won't be. Then you won't have that cliffhanger for season.
Yeah, but I don't really want that. I just want, like, okay, you know what? Invincible. Perfect example.
That's true.
That show had a phenomenal ending, but it left you wanting so much more. It ended just right. You got that good resolution to what the show had built up, but at the same time, you still have so many unanswered questions. You want to be like, I want more. That's what I wanted. I wanted like a nice resolution, but I want more. I didn't get that. I just got
Well, now you're gonna have to wait for 3 years before the next season comes out.
Like even into the Across the Spider-Verse, which also kind of abruptly ended.
Literally,
still
that's the definition of an abrupt ending.
Still, at least, kind of like came to an interesting stopping point. Like we left off in a place where I'm curious to see where it goes. With this, I'm not even curious to see where it goes, because do you know how many times in The Boys we've watched superhero characters escape a scary hospital?
That's like half the show.
This is like the 5th time.
No,
I am not interested in watching characters escape a scary hospital
in the first place. I was like, okay, they're doing superhero college. Well, and then my like writer producer brain clicks on it. It goes, okay, what do you do with the boys' college, right? Well, they probably have gross powers and they do weird, gory sex stuff. It's like, okay, check. There's probably a secret evil hospital. Okay, check. Homelander cameo, check. And you just check boxes. Like,
remember
that's
when
where
she
it goes.
blows up a man's penis and he survives?
Oh, well, that's like Boys 101.
And no, he survives, is fine, and then seemingly just kind of is okay with that for the rest of the show, and like is a recurring character who seems to just be like now perfectly chill with the fact that his penis exploded.
I feel like they just enter every writer's room for these shows and just like, okay, what's another penis thing we can do this year?
She shrinks and goes
We've done
to
big penis.
huge
We've done exploding penis.
Even though they already did that before. They've exploded and done shrink tiny penis already. Both of those things they've done already, and they did them again.
Well, there's only so many things you can do.
They have superpowers.
There's only so many different big penises you can do.
They could have a guy who's got 3 penises. Why not? They had a guy with a super long trunk penis.
Seth Rogen just wrote that down in his notebook.
Yeah, they're taking notes as I speak.
Yeah.
What if he's got like foreskin that eats people? They're definitely gonna do that now.
This is all free stuff. This is all free stuff.
For free. What if they start doing vagina stuff? They've barely done any vagina stuff.
I don't know about that.
Why not?
Not as funny.
Why not?
Penises are inherently
What they do
funny.
boob stuff? What they have a giant? She got giant boobs. She crushes
she
people with her
was
giant boobs.
Remember, she got real big.
Yeah, but she didn't crush anyone with her boobs. They had a guy. They got giant penises all the time. I'm just saying they could do giant boobs.
Anyway, Invincible came back this week. First episode of season 2 came out. That was really good.
Not a lot going on.
I mean, it's the start of the season.
Yeah, it's the first episode, so I didn't expect much. But after the first episode of Invincible season 1, my immediate thought was like, okay, what are they gonna do? What's gonna be the way that they do that again? How are they gonna do that again? And then they're just like, nope. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I probably shouldn't have expected that. But, okay, again, writer-producer brain turning on. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking, okay, the first episode of Invincible Season 1, we had that crazy reveal.
Yeah.
We got to do that again. We got to do another big crazy reveal. Even if it's not as crazy. We got to do something. And instead they're like, and the brain guy's evil now.
I think the thing with Invincible is, like, because they're just so straightforward adapting the comic. Like, if the comic doesn't, like, have
Is the comic this heavy into the multiverse this early on?
Yeah, it is.
That seems really coincidentally timed.
Yeah, it's luck, I guess. No, because I almost called him home. The Omni-Man Invincible fight happens like multiple issues. Like the comic takes a really, really long time to get through. There's so much happens in that comic. It ran for a really long time. So yeah, no, this multiverse stuff happens pretty early on. But anyway, yeah, it's off to a solid start.
I like Invincible. I think I like it more than The Boys, to be honest.
I think it is.
The Boys is really good, but I just personally find
Invincible is more fun,
more easy to enjoy.
The Boys is such like you have to be in the mood to watch it.
Yeah,
because it's so grim and cynical and gross. Like you have to just be like. It's hard for me to like sit and binge episodes of The Boys.
The Boys hates superheroes, whereas Invincible critiques heroes.
Or like, I don't even think it's a critique. I think it's just more just trying to do something interesting with it.
Yeah, but
The Boys is generally concerned with just mocking things. Invincible is more concerned with like spinning them in a new direction, which I think just personally just appeals to me more. I'm just not
Yeah, I
that
just personally
cynical of
find
a
that
person.
I like it when the universe takes well, The Boys does take itself seriously, but there's never any like the stakes never feel balanced.
There's always that like sheen of gross out comedy that's like always there.
Well, wait, okay,
and none of that is kind of stuff is present.
The Boys always feels like there's absolutely no way that these guys are going to succeed, and everything they do fails. And every single plan they ever do fails. It's kind of getting a little bit like, okay, yeah, wow, they failed again. Great, cool. Okay, cool. Why are they even doing this? Whereas like Invincible has that same fear factor to it where like, wow, this is like an insurmountable threat. But they still have like some way of making it interesting when things go down. You know what I mean? Anyway, what else do we? I think that's it for the stuff we had to talk about.
We'll be back. Next.
The last episode of Attack on Titan happened, and I do want to talk about that. I have not seen it yet.
You know, this is a show I know nothing about, right?
You need to watch this show.
I'm not gonna watch it.
I don't know. You need. I'm gonna say this.
You know my strict anti-anime policy.
This is the greatest piece of on-screen media that has ever been made.
Whoa, chill.
That's my honest opinion.
Nah, that cannot be true.
You have to. I cannot properly explain it to you.
No.
Okay, you're
just wrong.
I'm not wrong. That's the thing. That's the problem. Is I'm not wrong, and you're never gonna know because you'll never watch it. If you watched it, you would know I'm right. That's the thing. It is the most consistently.
You did not just call Attack on Titan the greatest film or TV show to ever exist.
People who have seen it will just agree with me. Like it's not even a hot take. Like I'm not even kidding. That's legitimately a cold take.
My anime knowledgeable friends tomorrow, or at some point over the next
I recently rewatched it, and I've seen it once all the way through before, except for the finale. I haven't seen that.
Is it not like translated to English yet or whatever?
No, I wanted to rewatch it before I watched the finale. There are details that are so small and you write them off so easily, but they are just so important and they mean so much, and you can tell how much the creative people behind it legitimately wanted everything to be cohesive. And that is something that is so lost on most stories that we see today, like with the whole Marvel universe. They're just spitballing random garbage. None of it's related. They don't care about the quality of the story. I'm sorry, they don't. Same with Star Wars. Star Wars pretends to do this. Like they pretend like everything's connected and everything matters, but it doesn't. Like the clones having the chips. Like they made that up decades after the fact and then pretended that was always the way it was when we know it wasn't. Attack on Titan actually cares and actually does that kind of stuff. And it's really, really cool to see when it happens. So that's my take on that. Everyone needs to see Attack on Titan. It's just the best show. I will
die before I watch it.
It's probably the best show that I have ever seen on TV. I've never seen a better show on TV than Attack on Titan. Maybe there are better shows. Maybe better shows exist. I haven't seen. This is the best one I have ever seen. Hands down. It's not even close.
Sam, have you ever seen Cheers?
Cheers is the most boring show ever made. And again, to the people watching who have seen Attack on Titan, they know that I'm right. And that's why I'm completely confident in saying, like, I'm not even prefacing this. I'm not even pretending like this is a hot take, because it's not. The Attack on Titan is definitively the best show I have ever seen, and probably the best show that has been made in my lifetime. I can't think of one that even approaches the level of quality that Attack on Titan has achieved. The only problem I have with it is the production schedule, which is not the story's fault. That's like a business, behind the scenes type thing. Like that's not the story's problem. And that's my take. Anyway,
wow.
Hopefully I'll finish that by next week.
You love Attack on Titan so much. Why don't you marry it?
Because it's not a person.
Anyway, we'll be back next week to talk about the true epitome of quality cinema in the Marvels. I can't wait.
I can't wait to watch Attack on Titan and then the Marvels. I can't wait to just whiplash. I'm gonna die from the
You
whiplash.
know those? Did you see that clip online of those like 2 TikTok podcasters saying that Martin Scorsese movies are like going to the DMV?
No.
Okay, well, there's some 2 morons who said that, and I was like, going to a Marvel movie is like going to Target.
No, going to a Marvel movie is like going to main event with no money. It's just a lot of loud noises, angry children, and like drunk adults.
And weird smells.
Yeah, and weird smells.
And sticky surfaces.
That's a Marvel movie.
That's a Marvel.
And you know what? When you're a kid, going to main event is awesome. Freaking sick. Even when you're an adult, there's still some fun stuff to do at main event. But like, generally speaking, it's mostly noise.
And like main event, it's better when you start drinking.
Attack on Titan is a 3-star Michelin restaurant. The MCU is main event.
It's main event.
Main event cafeteria.
And you have to go because it's your kid's friend's birthday.
And you have to be there.
And you have to be there for at least 2 hours.
And so you spend you bowl once with the
Yeah.
other adults, and you spend the rest of the time on your phone in the
and
like.
then you save up your
crappy
tickets,
cafe.
and then you go in at the very end, and they give you a
And then little
treat.
Timmy goes up to you and he goes, "I spent all my money on my card. Can I have more?"
And
And
you
then
go,
you give him
"No."
more, and then he spends another 30 minutes in the arcade,
And
and
then
he wins a nerd's rope.
Sam, we're recording this before we've seen the movie. What famous Marvel character do you think will have a cameo in the post credits?
Didn't they say it was Kate Bishop? I like Kate Bishop.
I'm locking in Wolverine.
What?
I think Wolverine's gonna
That's
show up.
insane. What
Some
do you mean
X-Men
you think
thing.
it's Wolverine?
I think it's gonna be an X-Men thing.
That's absurd. That is an
Watch
insane
me
thing
be
you
right.
just said.
I think it's gonna be an X-Men thing.
What? It might be an X-Men thing, but it's not gonna be Wolverine.
Why not?
Because they're gonna save Wolverine.
But he's the X-Man.
That's
he is
so
X-Men.
dumb what you're saying right now.
All right, we'll be back next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.